Alright, today I wanted to make a video on some things about Hawks that I haven't necessarily discovered. Some of this stuff is obviously discovered by other people, and I don't exactly have credit for a lot of it, since a lot of it was discovered by multiple people very shortly after he came out. But I wanted to showcase it all in one video so that everybody knows where a lot of it came from. The first thing I would like to mention is, of course, the obligatory beta-beta combo. Now, I am not super fantastic at this one, but this combo is Hawks' bread and butter. If you don't know how to do this, you are not a good Hawks player. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Now, the combo is to do a beta, and do a turn your camera 180, and do another beta.
It ain't possible.
It's a lot easier to do on flatter ground, which I am unfortunately not on right now.
Maximum range.
But yeah, this is Hawks' like obligatory combo.
Too quick. Hold on.
That right there. You have to know how to do that if you want to be a good Hawks player. That is the bread and butter, and that is inevitably going to be what gets this character nerfed, because that combo is monstrous, to say the least. Now, the second thing I wanted to mention was about Beta's recharge. Now, I will be turning off the reload speed for this, just to help showcase it a bit better. But if you notice, when you use a beta, it'll start like recharging like how it normally would, right? And it doesn't matter if you land on the ground or not. You can still recharge it and use it again in the air. Now, if you use all 100% of it, though, this is no longer the case. Now, it will only begin recharging upon touching the ground. So, it is highly recommended that if you're trying to air stall with Hawks, that you should not use more than 2 uses of beta to stay in the air, or to simply go upwards. For example, if you're down here, you probably want to use just 2 betas here to get up to the top. It's likely not worth it to go for the third one, because then you have a significantly longer recharge, and you have to touch the ground before it begins recharging, which is a rather large downside to the move. Of course, the beta will begin recharging as soon as you enter the long form of it. It will begin a full recharge, no matter what percent it was when you landed it. Now that I'm done with that, I can mention another combo with it that is possible, and it is also pretty nice, and that is your melee combo into beta. Now, melee combo has 4 different hits, and you cannot let that last hit connect if you want this to work. Instead, after hit 3, you go for a beta in order to finish the combo off. You can then loop back around for the classic beta-beta combo. However, I am not consistent at that, and it is very, very tough to do, and something that will take a lot of practice to learn. Now here is the showcase. A little bit late on that. I'll have to showcase it here.
Faster. Take the sound barrier. No way.
Sometimes your game will bug and like keep you next to him, which works really well for landing the beta combo. But yeah, that's another combo that's kind of nice to do. It's also kind of worth it to note that you can do a gamma setup into this. And that is a much easier combo to do than the melee into beta-beta. However, that one requires a melee range gamma setup, so I would almost never recommend actually going for that. Now there's another combo that I should be worth mentioning, and that is a gamma startup combo from a distance. Now, it is a gamma into alpha combo. This combo is not very well seen yet. Not a lot of people know about it, it seems, and not a lot of people are going for it. But believe me, this combo is very ruthless. You just do beta into gamma into aim to alpha. Now, it is worth noting that you have to do aimed alpha for this, because aimed alpha is faster and allows it to connect a lot more hits. See how it only landed 2 feathers there?
Strength.
If I aim down sights, I get a lot more damage.
Don't lose yet.
Almost cracking his shield before he gets the auto wake up.
That's strength.
Hold on.
It is
Sense
a
it.
really monstrous combo. The only problem with it is that it can be tough to land sometimes when you're flying around in the air,
One fell swoop.
but it is still worth knowing because being able to have a projectile like that
That's strength.
that just can be comboed for 200 damage on a whim is kind of nasty. Additionally, you get more damage the further away you are.
Sense it.
This is actually because the feathers from his alpha travel faster than the gamma does. So he doesn't actually receive the stagger from the gamma until after like a few feathers have hit and you get more time to land more feathers.
Don't lose yet.
Notice how I got like 149 there. Now if I do it
That's strength.
from this range, I only get 183. It's not a huge difference, but it is definitely like a noticeable difference. Like you should be paying attention to that. Now, when it comes to Hawks' alpha, there's something I want to mention about that too. That might sound a bit obvious to some of you. And that is the recharge on it is, of course, faster for each individual feather than it is to get the entire clip back.
Push through.
Won't let you.
Is it's not super slow.
Take them
But
all.
if you see yourself running very low on feathers, like it's very common to do in a game, and you're at like 5 feathers, instead of waiting for it to recharge each one individually, empty the clip. This will actually result in you getting your full clip back faster than if you just sat there and waited. Like right about now, I'd probably be at about 20 feathers, and I'm already back at 50 by just simply emptying the clip. Now, of course, this does mean that you will be going without alpha for a little bit, but it's not a very huge deal. You can still just simply fly away. Now, when it comes to gamma, there is something that gamma has also been discovered to be good for, that not a lot of people go for. And that is using gamma hold to gain height. Now, this is only really useful if your beta is on cooldown from doing a long beta, which, in fairness, is fairly common because of how like prominent his beta stuff is. So you can do gamma
Watch
look
out.
down
You'll regret
and simply hold it, and you gain quite a good amount of height.
barrier.
Of course, it's not as good as simply using a beta, but if your beta is on cooldown, like I mentioned earlier, using gamma in order to gain the height instead can be nice and can help you out of a lot of dangerous situations. Now, for special action, there is something I've got to note about it as well. When you initially use it, it costs you about 13% to use.
In the air. Tear you apart.
Costs you about 13%, and then every single tick after is just your flight. And it does take a decent amount of time to recharge when it's at low percents too. Now this one, I can't recommend emptying the clip as much, but it still can be nice to do sometimes whenever you need the full clip back faster. Since while it might be faster to let it recharge from about 82%, there are some times where you'll be on like 15%, where it might be faster for you to simply just empty the clip and let it all come back at once. Additionally, special action has a few quirks to it. It can be used to give yourself a quick boost in speed without costing too much special action charge. Now this is only really worth doing on like tall buildings, but you can use special action into melee in order to gain a ton of speed while only costing a little bit of charge. Additionally, if you're running low on charge, say at about 8% or so, you can do a melee and then save the rest of it to do another quick boost later. This is something I heavily recommend learning how to get consistent at, as it helps Hawks with his mobility even more than he already is and allows him to outrun opposing Hawks.
In the air.
Yeah, when you're on low percents like that,
Nice.
simply saving like the boost so you can get one quick
In the air.
boost. Can be quite nice. Additionally,
Sharp as an eye.
it's surprisingly good at changing your
In the
direction,
air.
and that was a bit of a shocker to me
I won't fall
whenever I
behind.
first figured it out.
Tear you apart.
Yeah, you can change your direction mid-air pretty well with it.
Punch it harder.
This only really works when you're high up, but yeah, that can be nice. Now, for a final tip for his like mobility, is that Gamma has a very decent mobility aspect to it as well. I mentioned the push-up earlier in order to get you more height, but you can also use it for some decent distance
Barrier.
at the end of a beta too, giving yourself a push backwards at the cost of a Gamma charge.
Watch out. Or you'll
It's
regret
better
it.
to cancel the ending of the Gamma with either an air melee or special action depending on what you have,
Maximum range.
as it gives you a very good boost to your special right at the start, or simply just using air melee also works, giving you quite a decent boost. This is another one that can be good for changing your direction mid-air and keeping yourself very agile and hard to hit. Now, final thing I want to mention about Hawks is his level path. Now, Hawks has a very decent amount of level paths that people have been enjoying recently. But there's one thing about all of them that I would recommend not doing, and that is Gamma. I would highly recommend not leveling up Gamma, as you simply don't get too much value for it. You get a little bit more damage and a bigger marker area, but level 1's marker is already very good. And the only significant value you get from it is all the way at level 9 when you get your third charge. And this is nowhere near the same amount of value as you get with other abilities.
Loose yet.
Unless you really plan on going for the Gamma and Alpha combos, I would highly recommend against Gamma maxing, or even getting Gamma to 4 until your other two skills are already maxed out. Now, on to Beta.
Alright.
Beta is what a lot of people have been saying is the best path to level up first. And I don't entirely disagree with this. Having Beta at a higher level can be really nice for getting more damage on your combos with his Beta. However, I don't think that it's necessarily the best path. I don't think it's a bad path, though. I definitely think this is a very solid path, and is actually how I start out my level path. But as you saw earlier, Beta at level 1 does about like 80 damage into 120, which of course is still ridiculous. It would be 130 without the assault buff, by the way. And if you get the skill to 4, its damage gets increased to about 150 per swing. And this is where I think you should stop. I know getting Beta up for the classic 180 can be incredibly valuable, but I personally don't see much value in that when Alpha is there and so weak at early levels. It has a small hitbox and only hits for like 18 per hit. I would really recommend, after leveling up Beta, to put some points into Alpha for more feathers,
It's too late.
a bigger hitbox, and more damage. As you see, a level 4 Alpha reaches the 200 damage threshold
I won't let you.
against an assault character, which can be quite nice. Additionally, Alpha will be a large source of damage against otherwise bad matchups. Being able to provide like a good range chipped option to either get people off of you or simply just to provide good damage. And even if it doesn't land, you're still forcing your opponent to play in a way that they would likely not want to play, as they'll have to be dodging your alphas constantly. So the more alphas you have to shoot at them, and the more damage they do, the more threatening that they are, the more valuable they can be. Additionally, Alpha can be stacked up a lot of damage very quickly in order to kind of jump scare people by flying into them while shooting. Yeah. This is because you're also traveling with the bullets, so each bullet that comes out of you will start overlapping with previous bullets, doing crazy amounts of damage in very short amount of time if they are not prepared. Now, after getting Beta 4, or Alpha 4, I would actually recommend going for Alpha 9 next, as it gives you the maximum amount of feathers and gives you a much bigger hitbox. Admittedly, the damage doesn't go up too much, but I think having the bigger hitbox, making it easier to land certain hits, is worth. And it also makes the Gamma and Alpha combo a lot better to land, because you have more alphas and a bigger hitbox on each of the alphas. And finally, getting Beta all the way up to max is definitely the next best thing to do. As, of course, you all know it, 100 damage, and then you turn around with the 180s. You all know it, you all be complaining about it, and it's honestly very justified complaints. But yeah, that's how I personally like to level Hawks. Then of course you obviously do Gamma Max, but honestly, once you reach this point, you can kind of start caring a lot less about your level path.
This is my
and start caring a lot more about keeping your team leveled, as Gamma does not really get that much from future levels outside of a bigger radius and an extra charge at level 9. But level 1's radius is already quite big. I'll showcase the difference here.
This is my turn.
It's already quite big, and you don't get too much bigger with level 4. So the only significant improvement is level 9 when you get the 3rd charge. And even then, I still don't think it's too worth. You do get extra damage on it though, whenever you are going for Gamma Alpha, which can be nice. But Gamma Alpha already does enough damage when you have your Alpha at high levels. But yeah, I know everybody likes to say that Hawks' Beta Max is like the strat, and you can definitely still get a lot of success out of that. But I think there's more value in putting your levels into Alpha before Beta. Of course, getting Beta 4 can be nice for the increased hitbox size, and you get a lot more damage from Beta 4 than you do level Beta 1. But after Beta 4, there really isn't too much of a reason to go for Beta 9. So I personally like stopping at Beta 4, and then just leveling up Alpha. Alright, now, there really isn't much more I can say about Hawks currently. There are a few, like, just, Hawks is crazy. There is one tech that I know of that only works if you have lag, ironically. Gamma, whenever you are lagging,
This is my turn.
sometimes will take the charge a little bit later than it should, allowing you to use the same charge twice. Now, I do not have a clip of this, and I can't really showcase it very well because I'm not in a laggy position right now. However,
Get in range.
it is a thing you can do, allowing yourself to get 3 consecutive gammas at early levels, and even up to 5 consecutive gammas on later levels. Though, again, this does require at least a little bit of lag or input delay to do. Yeah, there really isn't much more I can say. Hawks is like preferred characters to be teamed with are probably characters who don't rely too much on their knockdown values. I do think that Full Bullet makes a good character pick with him, even though he also has a lot of knockdown value. But after that, I would really recommend a character like All Might as the 3rd, since All Might doesn't really need to worry too much about his knockdown value and can let the other 2 characters do lots of damage without having to worry about the knockdown. Additionally, certain characters like Froppy can be nice for support, and Aizawa, after Aizawa's recent patch, Aizawa can come in and like block off the opponent's quirk, while the Hawks and Full Bullet just absolutely destroy them with their combos. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this little Hawks guide, and I plan on doing some Hawks content with like games on him and stuff in the near future. So yeah, please let me know if y'all would be interested in any like particular videos on him. I definitely do think this character is potentially the best character in the game. I think it's between him and Full Bullet for console, and for PC it might be a little bit worse for him, since I have noticed that he struggles a lot against beamers that can punish him for his actions. Like if he misses a beta, he can get punished very heavily by a yellow Deku, for example. But yeah, really isn't much more to say. He also doesn't really like armor moves very well whenever he's going in for beta. Certain characters will be able to stop him very easily since his beta doesn't have armor. And Deku is another one of those characters. Yellow Deku kind of fits an anti-meta role in my opinion right now. Being very good against both the Dekus. Or very good against Strike Deku as well as Hawks. Being able to kind of like prevent them. I think AFO is in a very similar role right now too. Being able to act as a sort of anti-meta and not let either of the two meta characters play the game very much. Alright, well, that's it from me for this video. Hope to see y'all all again soon. And I appreciate all the support, even though I haven't been uploading much recently. I plan to start uploading more about other topics and not just Hawks and full bullet content. So yeah, stay tuned for that and subscribe for more.